So today we're going to be talking about composting. We're going to be going over what is compost, how to make compost, and what it's good for. So when making compost, you want to have the right mixture of carbon and nitrogen. Anything green is nitrogen, anything brown is carbon, and you want to have a little more carbon than nitrogen. If you have too much nitrogen, the pile is going to get a little stinky, might get a little anaerobic, not enough oxygen in there. There's a lot of different ways to make compost. So one way is you can make a bin, and usually the size of your bin that you would want to make would be 4 feet wide by 4 feet long by 4 feet tall. You want to make sure you've got a lot of airflow coming into your bin, so you wouldn't want to make it out of plywood or something. You can use metal wire or even wood, but make sure that there's space in between your wood so lots of airflow can get in there. And then from there you would throw in your compost, so you can put a little bit of green manure, a little bit of brown wood chips, and just layer it green, brown, green, brown. One method is the burn method, or cold composting. So basically you make a little mound on the ground, maybe about 2 feet high, and incorporating the same stuff, your green manures and carbon or wood chips. It takes a little bit longer, but supposedly you burn out less of the nutrients that's in the plants. Another method of composting, instead of building a bin, is to just throw everything right on the ground. The other method people like to use is just buying a compost turner, and you put your same stuff in there, and then it's just really easy to turn. So you want to turn your compost every so often. You can tell when it's ready to turn just by the heat coming off of it. And again, once it starts to cool off, give it a turn, and that'll just restart that whole process again. Mix everything up, get some air back into there, and just kind of kickstart the microorganisms again. If you don't want to turn your compost pile, you can go ahead and just leave your compost pile. If you're like me and you're too busy and you don't have the time to do it, just go ahead and leave it. It might take a little longer, maybe 6 months or so, but you still get the results that you want. And so how do we use the compost? Basically, once we've made our compost and it's ready to use, it's all nice and fresh and fluffy and ready to go in the soil. And usually you want to put about anywhere from 2 inches to 4 inches of compost on top of your soil, and just till it into your soil, and you can add some of your other amendments and you're ready to plant. But by putting that compost in your soil, you're improving your soil health. You're also adding more microorganisms because your microorganisms are in the compost. It almost acts as a fertilizer for your plants, a nice light fertilizer for the soil and for your plants.